Sports Grand Prix show. I am Justin Satawa, and I am joined by a wonderful panel today. I have Chase left, and it is Fast and Loose time with Justin Satawa at the Detroit Grand Prix. JB, why don't you step into the shot a little bit more?
A little off-center here. Yeah.
A little off-center, but it's okay. We are about to be... The Indy NXTs are about to hit the track, and they are the lower division of the Indy cars, and it is going to start a great day of racing between the Indy NXTs and the Indy cars, and it was very exciting to be here, and thank you so much to the Detroit Grand Prix for having us down here, and with a beautiful view as well. Right behind us, the glass is not as see-through as we would have probably liked, but behind us we have the beautiful riverfront of Canada, and what you will be able to see the cars zooming by in the next couple minutes as the race is starting. It is 10:32 at the moment, and the next race starts any second now. It's supposed to have already started at 10:30.
I see what you did there, the next race.
Next race, NXT.
NXT, next race, you got me. But yeah, it's going to be a great day. The biggest storyline in the NXT race is Detroit native Nolan Aller, and we've had the beauty of talking to him a few times. He's a hockey guy, he's a great guy. He's repping Detroit, he's got the Detroit Lions Motor City Classic helmet, and he has the four sports teams on the car, so really repping the Detroit area. Also, thank you to our sponsors, Ben Johnson, White Claw, for setting this up, and Planet Fitness. We don't forget about Planet Fitness around here.
Fitness is essential.
But yeah, this is a little different content than we normally bring you. So we're going to run down the races that happened over the last yesterday, and then we're going to preview. Oh yeah, here comes the NXTs right now as they're taking their formation lap on the track at the moment. And Nolan Eller is starting in 17th place, the Detroit native. He actually had top 6 pace in practice, but he had a gearbox failure in qualifying, which caused him to drop down the field, which made it extremely tough for him. But the beauty of this Detroit track, which we will preview the entire track in a second, is there are so many corners that make it tough to stay on track, to not make that contact with the wall or the other drivers, where there are long wrecks all the time, especially on turn 3.
I absolutely agree. I'm not too sure if fans know this, but there are 3 different types of situations these drivers are facing out here in this course. They really tight corners, and as you said, those corners, those turns are what makes the difference. As you see, Chase over here getting excited as well. Those turns, those corners are what makes the real difference, because they are going from, in the Indies, where they're running like 200 miles per hour, to now they have to pace that down to where top speed is like at least 150. So this is going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top here, but I'm telling you right now, it is a very fun and exciting event to be at. Our guy now, as you said, starting out in 17th place with my girl, Haley Deegan, at 18.
What I was getting excited about Haley Deegan just driving by, and obviously, like I said, Nolan Aller for the local team, but we have our other fans of the circuit that we're rooting for as well. It's been not just a fun atmosphere today, but all weekend since the events have kicked off on Friday. Last night they had a fun concert after a day of practices, qualifying, the classic car showcase. Some pretty cool highlights from that as well. So it's been a really fun weekend, jam-packed, full of excitement here down at the Grand Prix. And they have a bunch of cool cars on display. Not just one's driving, but we're and some of the low levels of the garages. I know you're seeing this. You guys get to take a look at that and the paddock. You see some behind the scenes of what goes on here. As you hear the engines roaring as they drive by us.
It is very loud out here. I will say that if you're coming down or if you're already down, you kind of already know what you're getting yourself into as well. To bring some earplugs, bring the headphones, because I'm telling you right now, what you see on TV to what it actually is live down here, it is so much louder. It is honestly a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be experiencing next weekend, Chase, with MIS.
No, absolutely. And then, actually, where we're sitting right now, we're technically on the infield of the track, and the sounds kind of just echo as we're at, although we have the escape of the city to help filter out some of the sound. It is definitely a little bit louder. And as I said, we're looking here across the ledge. We're 20, 25 feet from the fence where the cars are driving by. So we're, at times, within 50 feet of these cars as they're going by at over 150 miles an hour.
Yes, definitely. This is, like I said, an amazing backdrop that we're in a nice place. Hopefully you guys can check out and see this. Like, see over here, seeing across, there's Canada right there. But as you said, these cars are zooming by so good, so fast. I don't know about you, Chase, but I would love to be right in between the gate and the fence, kind of capturing all this footage. What about you?
Yeah, it looks really cool. And I think what is really cool about this event is the amount of free access points to the spectators. You know, 50% of the track has free access points. People can come along the river. I know there's a ton of boats out today. I don't think they have a very good move with the track. I would say that the city has to allow us to think about the fence kind of filling up with spectators right now on the Riverwalk as people are filing in to see the NXT. And it looks like there's a red flag out on the racetrack as well.
I see it right there, red flag.
Yeah, they have they've got the flag wavers, little hole cut out in the fence for the electric sign. So
I'm not too sure what happened. We don't have a live feed going on right now for it, although we're watching it live as well too. So maybe it could be a driver into the wall or something else going on as well too. But like I said, it was all with these tight corners, man. It's like about how fast and how tight you can hug the corners. Shout out to Fago, our guy, Alan right here, just rolling asses, digging right behind him as well too. But it's all about those tight corners. And if you can hug that wall so close, it can make or break your race day.
yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of tight corners and, you know, accelerating, decelerating. One of my favorite things about being at the track, JB, is I love seeing the pavement, like the rubber just getting laid down on the pavement, entering and exiting the turns as they're laying into the throttle and, like, pushing down on the brakes. I think it's really fun just to see, like, oh, you know, like, I mean, you could have been down here a week ago driving through this, and it would have, you know, it would have looked completely different. And then, you know, come back here a couple of days from now, and it's going to be back to how it usually is. But you're still going to have that rubber on the road, and you know, those marks of the race. I think it's really cool, and
I will say the city of Detroit does have their work cut out from tearing down all this, kind of repaving, resurfacing all this as well too. Because yesterday, with the races and the qualifiers that they had, streets looked tore up. I'm sorry, it looked like there was like Fast and Furious 1 through 5 being taped here the whole entire time.
Yeah, and I want to say that at the media luncheon, they informed us that about over 215 or so manhole covers had to be
oh wow,
sealed up just to, like, you know, for the surface of the track comparative. I mean, like, this is inside of a city comparative to, like, you know, last week when they're down in Indianapolis at the Brickyard. So, you know, this is just one of the differences and challenges of going from, you know, like the oval track to the circuit here in the city. But part of what makes, you know, IndyCar so much fun is the difference, you know, like the challenges in the racing, the different types of racing, and, you know, the type of competition it brings out of each driver as they have, you know, different disciplines that they, you know, are, you know, better, you know, not so good at.
I definitely agree with you. I know we have some people out on the street right now as well too. I'm not too sure if we got the V-Mix, Justin, for them. Are they out there? Nope. They're there, but we do have people out in the street right now who are going to get us content as well too. They are excited. We got some interns out here who are running all over this place. I don't know about you, Chase, but this was definitely an exciting course as well too. You kind of want to be at every single corner, just checking out the action from one spot to the next, just to seeing what happens. But there's not a bad spot out here on the course if you're a fan coming down to check this out.
No, there's really not. And like I said, there's a lot of really cool spots. I think one of the best places for someone who's maybe like newer to the Grand Prix and wanting to get like good like feel for the sport is right near the pit lane, and I think it's also the finish line, the start finish line as well, because this is the only double-sided pit lane on the circuit in the IMSA circuit. So this is the only time that they're going to be, you know, having to make remind themselves like left or right when they get into the pits and stuff. So I think that's a fun, unique challenge. I think it's a little bit tighter comparative to some of the other pits that they're driving in. You know, they have, you know, the traditional stalls set up more or less. So this is just thrown into together on the street or in like a parking lot. But, you know, they make it work, and it's really, really cool to see how much, you know, they're able to transform the entire city to fit this whole race through here.
And as Justin said yesterday, we got to actually go down and check out some of the paddock area of all the drivers just to see their teams at work, the people behind the scenes putting in the hard work as we welcome back Justin to the scene. Justin, how you doing, man? Shout out to all the hard workers. Yeah, come on in. Yeah, shout out to all the hard workers who are volunteering their time out here with the Detroit Grand Prix. Shout out to Patrick, my man. Right.
I've been at it for 3 days here, plus running around on Thursday just before the start of the race. I really dig talking to people from city. Caught a few French folks from overseas.
Oh.
And sending people a good Detroit signal. So
That's very good, very positive.
Very
Thank
cool.
you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shout out to Patrick once again.
Got a pretty good little view here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a perfect little view.
About the best non-ticketed view you're going to
Exactly. See, Patrick knows the deal. He's telling us this is the best view that you can get non-ticketed, and I agree. You got a nice view of the river here. You got the straight on the back end of the track. I mean, it is just a beautiful time downtown. I extremely urge you, while the Grand Prix is going on, you can still make it down here and you can still enjoy everything that has to offer. There's a bunch of places on the track you could still see and watch for free. So you just got to find those places, and they're all over the track. So I think there's been a great show up from Detroit so far, and it hasn't even been the big race. The Indies that are coming up, I mean, I'm surprised they're a little behind schedule. It's honestly a little concerning, to be completely honest.
A little behind schedule, but also they did have the caution flag out that's right now that's going on there.
Yeah,
they're checking
they got the red
race
flag
course
out
right now.
Oh.
To see, and we are seeing
Yep.
a car getting towed
Right
off.
behind us
wow.
is the Susan Kaman
Susan
18
Kaman.
car.
Oh, no.
That is the car of Jordan Missig.
Jordan missing.
Ooh, and that is a brutal bounce. He was in 18th position today, so he doesn't really kind of a very similar result as he may have expected today, as he was at the bottom of the field. But
Hey, a lot can happen on pit road, Justin. You never know.
it can,
That
especially
make or
on
breaks
this
the
track.
difference.
So speaking of that, let's break down the track. Okay, the track is one of the most intriguing tracks in motorsports. They come from the Indy 500, the smoothest track on the entire circuit, where they are literally only turning left. It is an oval. If you do not know, I'm sure you know. If you're a motorsports fan, but if you don't, it's an oval. This is an extreme street track with very tight corners, very tight straights, and it is the only place in motorsports where there's a double-sided pit lane. As you go down that first corner for the start, you hit an immediate 90-degree double turn as you head down the back straight that heads towards Huntington Place. And that is where all the action happens. That's where you can expect most of the passing, where you can expect most of the crashes going into turn 3A and 3B. They are absolute chaos corners, is like what I like to call it. So I want to let you know what you guys think of that chaos corner and how that's going to affect the races today.
Well, as you said before, they're coming from the Indies, and as I said it before as well, too, the Indies race to this street course where it's a lot of corners, a lot of turns, and yes, that turn one is definitely going to make or break you right there. You're seeing a deceleration in speed as well, too, from their 200 miles per hour you're running at the Indies to now a 150 and below. So drivers are going to have to be extremely cautious once they hit that corner.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, I think we might have already seen some of that chaos happening in
Yes,
that
and
first
with the
quarter.
flag as well.
Although we didn't get to see where the crash occurred, we did just see that car get pulled, towed off the track. So, already we've seen a little bit of chaos in there. I imagine that's going to be a lot of contact between drivers as they're making those passes or trying to make those passes, in those tight turns.
Yeah, I think that they 100%, and it causes, you saw in qualifying with Joseph Newgarden as he crashed into the wall in a similar corner, and then you saw in yesterday's race, there was multiple crashes in the IMSA race on that corner. It really causes for some great racing and really gives the field the opportunity for it to be completely open, no matter what you did in qualifying, no matter how your car is performing that weekend. You will always have a chance to capitalize on the chaos that can ensue on a track like this. So I really am intrigued on how it's going to affect the race in terms of, especially our guy Nolan Eller, who's in 17th, who has the top 6 pace and is just going to have to hope that there's that opportunity that he can capitalize on.
Well, there's going to be plenty of opportunities. It's just, as you said, can he capitalize on those? Can he run those smooth lines, once again, that you've seen him run in practice during the qualifiers as well, too, to kind of overpace and outpace the rest of these drivers and competitors out there? Because I'm telling you right now, everyone wants to win that championship. Everyone wants to be first and to shine here in Detroit.
Yeah, I think that that's fair, and I think that I was talking to Nolan's dad, and he was telling me Detroit loves supporting his own, and I completely agree. I mean, the way that the network has picked up for him around the city and loved the coverage that we've been giving him, I think that the city has really drawn a little attached to Nolan, and I think that with a strong performance today, I think he captivates some hearts and some minds that are really rooting for a Detroit-based guy in a Detroit-based race.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just Detroit. I think we've seen or just the city of Detroit. I think we've seen some of the teams. I was on social media earlier, and I saw the Lions posting. Pretty sure I've seen some of the other teams shout him out. And acknowledging the Lions helmet, the stickers of the 4 teams on the decals on the car. And he's got the National Coney Island. He's really just repping all everything he can in Detroit. He was doing a bunch of stuff, interacting with people all weekend, local businesses and stuff like that. People who he's sponsoring, people he's not sponsoring, but just getting out there with. And the whole Indy team has been helping out. I think They said there's over like 38 small local businesses that they're like partnering with for this event. That's helping and getting a nice boost from just everything that happens around the Grand Prix. So they love to give back, and there's just some of what we got to hear about at the luncheon. When they're just talking about everything that the Grand Prix has to offer outside of just the racing aspect, which is obviously the fun that you come to see. It does a lot of positive impact for the city.
Yeah, and you're seeing it. I mean, the growth of this race over the last 3 years that I've been here has been exponential, and even the media coverage has grown as I've been here. Wasn't a lot of big players here my first year 2 years ago, and then last year it got a little bit more intense, and now
I think we're back.
We are back to racing. The Indy NXTs have taken flight once again, and I will pull up the live scoreboard as we get a little deeper into the race. Right now, nothing has happened other than the 18 car has crashed in the 18th position, so nothing that really affects the race so far. But it is interesting, and let's switch gears as they're getting started over here and the NXTs are getting going. Let's talk about the starting grid lineup for the Indy cars, the big race, the one that happens today. I believe it's at 12:30. It is Colton Hira who is opening the race in pole position. He had a great qualifying. He risked it to win. He had to put in a quick last lap to make sure that he was able to close and that distance and be able to take advantage of that first pole position. It was very, very tight all throughout qualifying yesterday, as constantly Palou was having to fight his way in and out of the two different groups and made that Super 6 but was unable to capitalize. Palou just won the Indy 500, and he has raced extremely well every single year he has been here, so I would be extremely scared of Alex Palou in the 6th position today.
Alex Palou in the 6th position, yes, definitely be aware of him. But going back to Colton Hira, as you said before, he leads that pole right now for Andretti Global. This is actually his first pole, I believe, for the 2025 season. So it's impressive for him. Shout out to him once again. But it should be a very intense race between those two competitive back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think another driver you can keep an eye on, too, who's had a lot of success here is Scott Dixon. I think if you want to look back at the last 4 or 5 races down here, I think you have the back-to-back with Alex Palou, but I think it's bookended with a couple of Scott Dixon wins as well. And then
yes.
Throw in Will Power as well. I think those are the previous 5 race winners here down at the Grand Prix. I can't remember off the top of my head where Will Power is in the starting grid order, but
Will Power is 9th and Dixon is 10th. Dixon actually suffered a penalty earlier in the year this week for something wrong with his car, a legal change that they made, so he has a grid penalty, so he will be I believe it will be starting lower than 10th. I believe he qualified in 10th, and it's a 4 or 5 place grid penalty, so I believe he will be starting 13 or 14.
I got you. Well, not an ideal position in 9th for Will Power, but he's definitely a driver I'm going to be keeping my eye on because I did get to talk to him the other day, so a little bit biased right there.
I mean, also Stingray Robb and Nolan Siegel as well, two guys that we got to talk to as well, too. I believe they're at the bottom of the pole positions there, but we're still rooting for you guys, hoping for the better for you, but you never know.
Yeah, and shout out to Ray, Go Lions from California. We appreciate you tapping into the stream.
Hey, shout out.
All the way from California. The Detroit Grand Prix is something that needs some more coverage, needs some more eyes on, and not a lot of people know about. So we're trying to do that for them and make sure that the people know how good of an event it is down here. It's a great time. The people are extremely nice. And there's plenty of ways to come down and enjoy it for free. And that's a beautiful thing that Detroit does year in and year out, making sure that you can bring in free areas to have the fans enjoy the race.
Yeah, I mean, this is something JB and I have talked about before. I think racing is one of the most inclusive sports. I mean, obviously, like we've talked about earlier, there's a ton of free access points here, but I think any motorsport in general, they're okay if you want to like poke a little fun at them. They don't really take it too personally. They don't take it too hard. You know, they just are kind of like, whatever, we like what we like. If you come to an event, you get out here and embrace the atmosphere, you're going to get hooked. You get sucked in, and like you're gonna enjoy it and realize, oh, this is what I was missing. I really had no clue about everything that this has to offer. The racing is way more exciting, way more fun, way more like complicated and difficult than I thought. And I mean, like I said, I think it's if you want to get yourself down to the track and experience one of these events, I think you definitely open your eyes up to a whole lot of fun that you could be having.
Yeah, and real quick, will one of you guys give your headsets to Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid's gonna come and his family's coming down here, and they're gonna.
Kool-Aid's coming down.
What I wanted to talk about, just to piggyback on what you guys are saying, the city's electric, man. I don't know how much my kids have or haven't gotten into racing. They love cars because naturally we're from the Motor City. My dad, my grandparents worked in the automotive industry. But this was one where when we woke up and I was getting ready early this morning, they got up like, you know what, we just want to go. And then when we got down here,
That's awesome.
all of the different volunteers, all of the different fan events, the things you guys have continued to tell us, hey, they got stuff going on. Seeing the people walking the Riverwalk right now, they're enjoying the city. They're enjoying the cars. They're getting hip to even more of the culture of what Detroit is because the Detroit Grand Prix is part of it. That's why I love that they did move it from Belle Isle to the city. I think it gives more people an opportunity to come down and experience it without feeling too much out of the element. It's in a backdrop that a lot of us know, and it's the city. This is amazing.
We
man.
have one of the top 10 river walks in the entire country. Like,
as Detroit Kool-Aid, I'm going to say number 1.
Yeah.
But to be fair, top 10,
Yeah.
yeah. And my family are out and enjoying it right now. They're down at Hart Plaza. There's a lot going on. And the fact that you guys are dedicating your time on this Sunday to making sure people can understand more about this race, to understand more about what's going down, and trying to get even more people out. Because this, not just for what this means for the racers and us, it's fun for everybody. So shout out to you guys for everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're here to tell you guys, like, it is a fun time to get out here. And like I said, if you're able to, you want to get down here, it is a blast. I mean, even if you're not able to make it out to this weekend, you know, and you still want to embrace some of the racing action. I mean, they're going to be at MIS next weekend. There's small tracks all around the area. I know, like, you know, JB and I, a couple of our other buddies, one of the guys we got behind the scenes over here, Harlan, shout out my guy. We're even talking about hitting, like, the Flat Rock Speedway down in downriver area and stuff like that. So, like, you know, I think motorsports in general, like, even if you know the Grand Prix isn't something you're able to, you know, make it to today, I think it's just like a really fun thing to do. You know, it obviously can be like a little intimidating and difficult to understand at times, but you know, I think like what Kool-Aid was talking about, his family getting into the cars, that's a great entry point. Of just like you go out to these races, you just look at like what everybody's running each week. They have some really cool sponsors, some really cool paint schemes, and then I mean, like, I think the graphic design work that some of these people are able to pull off, and like the body frames, like, I don't know, the Aston Martin car from the IMSA race yesterday, I'm still like imagining it in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I love the Cadillac. The Cadillac IMSA GT series car is absolutely beautiful. It is a very light blue supercar, and they were able to pull out in second yesterday. They were absolutely humming. So before we really continue to dive in, because I was 100% hooked my first year that I was down here, third year now, and I just absolutely love IndyCar. I now follow the sport to a pretty intense degree, and nothing like I had in the past and any motorsport since I was a kid in NASCAR. So I do highly recommend giving it a chance coming down here. When you see it live, it's a whole lot different. You can't even compare it watching it on TV, to be completely honest. But we're going to talk about yesterday's IMSA races. The IMSA races were actually extremely entertaining. They were very good. They had a lot of action. There was a beautiful fight between Acura and Cadillac to end it for the GTFs, and they really made it tough. And it's so interesting when the IMSA cars, because they share a track. There's two races technically going on at the same time.
So cool. Yeah.
So with the different classes of the car, it allows for the supercars to be able to just make these easy passes around the Mustangs and the Corvettes of the GDP series, GDP Pro. And so where it becomes interesting is in the last lap of that race, maybe the last 2 laps of the race, the Acura was using a Mustang to move and maneuver around the Acura and making the space in between much more controllable for him. And he was using him kind of as a barrier to give him that gap, which ended up giving the Acuras the lead. What was your guys' experience seeing that for the first time? 2 separate cars at the track at the same time, 2 separate races going on at the same time. It's just chaos.
I think that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I had to leave. I didn't get to stay. I had to go to my work for my other job. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's really cool to, like, see 2 different races. I think the way they help identify them, like with the colored numbers and the electronic scoring system on the cars, too. Like, it shows you what position they're in. I think is fantastic. I saw a really cool, I mean, it's a crash. I mean, I don't want to say like it's cool, but you know, like a highlight from 2023 when I want to say it might have been that chaos corner you're talking about, Justin, and like one of the cars climbs up on top of the other.
Yep, that was the chaos corner.
That was 2 years ago. So I mean, like the fact that the fact like any race itself is exciting. The fact that you're putting 2 different series competing at the same time, and it's like I think just adds to the intensity, adds to the pressure, adds to the excitement, adds to the the emotion that everyone's like feeling, inside the car, inside the pits, watching as a fan from home. So,
well, definitely watching as a fan from down here. I got a nice little spot up in one of the parking garages to look down at where pit row was, and just to see both of these 2 types of cars take off. I was slightly confused. I'm like, wait, they're both going to be on the track at the same time? But shout out to everyone putting things together here. They had it very nicely set up and displayed for you to know who's in the lead for one versus who's in the lead for the other. But it was definitely exciting to see because I'm like, I don't know who's taking over for what, but it was very impressive to see both of these type of cars handle the surfaces out here as well, too. I can tell you right now, if you're up in one of the parking garage areas, seeing them zoom by, get some earplugs.
Yeah, definitely would recommend some type of hearing protection. They are very loud as they go roaring by, and you can hear them right now as they're going by. I have to talk and raise my voice a little bit, but it is so cool to see them zooming by. I'm hoping to catch another glimpse of our girl Haley Deegan and our guy Nolan Aller. There's a pass right there. We just saw her get passed.
Oh,
damn.
We don't have to bring that up. We don't.
Oh, well.
Yeah, well, to give you a little update to what's going on the track, shout out to our guy Nolan Aller. He has made 2 position advance, and he is now in 15th as he started in 17th. So good for him. Haley Deegan is chasing his tail right behind him in 16th. But leading is Hoger, who had a beautiful pole position lap yesterday in qualifying to secure his pole position. So he is a rookie. He's looking great. So I would expect him to be in the regular IndyCar Series NTT in the next year or so, because he looks like he is a young stud who is hitting the scene running. Came out here and absolutely dominated qualifying in the NXTs all weekend, and you just love you don't necessarily love to see it because I want Nolan to win, and I guess for you guys I want Haley Deegan to do well.
Yes,
but at least if you're seeing a guy who's a rookie, he's a high-class driver, he's really putting on a nice show. I mean, that's all you can ask for, is they put on a show for the fans, the people who are coming to watch. Yeah, Detroit cares about their own, but at the end of the day, if it's a good race, it's a good race, and that's all that the race fans care about.
Yeah, I agree with Dennis Hager as well, too. He's bringing a lot of experience coming from Formula 2 to now, so he does have that wealth of knowledge out there that he's obviously using to his advantage as well, as you can see on the track. But shout out to him. He did set the record yesterday for the fastest pole position in timing, so shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him, no doubt. And to go back to the IMSA races, just because we hit on the first one in the GTF series, but let's hit the GTP Pros real quick. The Ford Performance brand was able to bring it home for a Detroit company, the Mustang, and they had a great race as well. They
had a great look, too. That car looks sick.
Yes.
It looks great. What red, white, and blue matches the Grand Prix colors, and they led for the entire race. They looked unstoppable. A masterclass, to be completely honest. And I caught up with one of the drivers after, and he told me, it was funny. He was joking. He was like, "Yeah, we may be in GM Tower and we may be in GM land, but this is Ford land."
Yeah.
And I love that. Me personally, my family's a Ford family, so for him to say that, it was
only major American motor company that didn't take the bailout money. So I think there's something to be proud. I think there's something to be proud of for people who are fans of Ford. I think that's probably something to take pride in. I have a buddy who says he'll only drive Ford if he's driving an American Motors vehicle. Otherwise, he'll go Japanese, he'll go foreign. But if it's American, it's Ford, because he firmly, just stands on that bailout principle, and I respect it.
Yeah, and I have a lot of family who worked in the plants before I was alive, and my grandpa, who recently passed, rest in peace to him. He was the Ford guy, and it passed down through generations. So I was rooting for the Fords, and I was rooting for the Mustang Performance team, and they were able to take home the W yesterday. So that was awesome. And then talking to them and having them be like, "Yeah, this is Ford land," like that.
Yeah.
Like, in the Rensen, I mean, you can't beat it if you're a Ford rep, and that's exactly what you want out of your guys. They're definitely media trained. So, I mean, the great race. But let's kick it over here. All right, they're in lap 12. And they're zooming down the track, close margins. There's no real gaps between the drivers. There's a little bit of a gap between 5 and 7, where, and then from 10 to 12 where Aller is. But you are seeing the gap start to close between the racers that are really competing for their overtakes, and you really love to see how aggressive they have been in this race.
There's Nolan Aller.
Shout out to Nolan Aller. He just drove by in his beautiful National Coney Island and Fago car. And
the one true pop.
What was your favorite car of the weekend?
I mean, Nolan Aller's does look pretty sweet. Are we going to go through each series, or do I have to pick one car for the whole weekend? Because you're making me pick one for the weekend.
Go one from each series.
Well, for the IMSA, I already kind of spoiled it. I liked that Aston Martin racing car. I think that looks sick.
That a nice blue.
I'm gonna go with the Fords too. That we were just highlighting too. Like I said, the red, white, and blue scheme. I love that white pony on the side of it. And then, looking at the NTTs, that's tough, man. I like the red and yellow on Alex Palous, but something about the ECR font, color scheme, I might lean with them. It's so hard for me to pick. I really have so many, I feel like this is a little bit newer to me, and there's so many of the cars that I'm just enjoying and liking. It's hard for me to pick a favorite right now, but let me circle back on the NTTs. The NXTs, we're going to give it to our guy Nolan Aller, although normally it'd go to Haley Deegan, but Nolan, shout out. But yeah, Nolan Aller repping the city, showing some love, local guy. So we're gonna give him the nod for that car of the week in the NXT series.
Like I said, I have to get more intuitive with all the drivers and all the cars. But as you said, Alex Palou, I did like that car as well too. But the NXTs out here, I gotta go with our guy Nolan Aller. Just if you see this car, it's repping all Detroit, and this is just definitely a fan favorite for me as well too. Haley Deegan, I mean, it's a monster car. I know it's just black and green, but green is always my favorite color as well too. But shout out to all these drivers out here. I'm telling you right now, you can't go wrong picking any one of these cars as your favorite. But
it ties into our other motorsport we like to talk about too, JBU and NASCAR, because the 2311 team, your favorite team, some of your favorite drivers are also rocking and repping the Monster brand too.
As well.
So yeah, it is. You're staying brand loyal with your fandom.
At least I'm brand loyal.
So,
I know that.
Yeah.
Justin, what about you?
Yeah,
man?
what's your cars of the week? Who stuck out to you?
I mean, Nolan Aller is easily my favorite. I mean, you can't beat it with the sports teams on it. But we're going in different directions for the IMSA. It's the Cadillac in the GTF series. I think that blue is very sleek. I like how it shines in the sun, and I like the black accents. I think it really just has a very simple yet effective design, and I really like it. On the IMSA GDP Pros, I like the Mustang a ton. I think that probably is my favorite car, but you got to shout out Roxy, the pink pink dinosaur car. I'm a big fan.
A lot of people are fans of that car, man.
It's so cool, the fact that it's so different. Okay,
yes.
Like all the other cars have like actual car liveries, and they are look like race cars. That literally looks like a clown car, but in the best way possible.
I was gonna say,
I'm the one that I love a good meme car. Okay, I love a good it's got good vibes, and I think that just with the mouth, and it's good. It's a good color too. It's not it's not a bad green.
Amazing.
It's not a bad pink. They have the pink car this week, but I really like the design, and my mom loves the Porsche. So it's partially for that as well. And then if we're going to the Indy NTTs, I really like I love Palou's car. I think Palou's car has a lot of good coloring to it, but I also am a big fan of the Aero McLaren. I mean, the Aero McLaren is just so clean.
Viva.
Pato Award. I actually prefer, though, I believe it's Rossi's car, where he is has the blue in it. I like the blue accents over the black accents, and I know that's a very unpopular opinion in the McLaren community because a lot of people like the black more, but I personally do like the blue. I think it gives off more of a McLaren vibe than the black. What do you guys think? Do you guys think you guys think it's the blue or the black, or?
I'm going to lean towards the black, but I'm not going to disagree with you with the blue. I will say it's definitely something different that kind of makes the car pop just a little bit more. It's just like the black, you're just kind of used to it for the majority of the time, especially given that company as well. So the blue, definitely a nice different touch for this weekend.
I struggle with color, certain shades, and the contrast of such. So like darker color, like very dark and very light colors that are blend together very well. I need the high contrast. I don't see color very well. Obviously, I don't see very well in general. That's why I wear glasses. But thinking it over, and you mentioned, I am going to give my car of the week to Alex Palou, simply due to the fact that I think JB and I both got to do this. They were wheeling by the spare fenders and stuff like that, and we were just standing right by it, and I just happened to
he touched one of them, and he was so excited.
I poked the nose of the spare fender. So for that reason, that's the car of the week.
All right, I think that's as fair as any reason. I mean, I'm rooting for Alex Palou in the race because I have gotten a couple interviews with him the last couple of years. He's always very kind with me, always willing to work with me.
Such a nice guy, too.
Even on an interview when we got to walk and talk, he doesn't care. He's perfectly okay with it. He remembered me. So shout out to Alex Palou. And so we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty here. The NXTs are on the track right now. We are getting closer to the Indy cars. They have a lot of ceremonies in between, but we got to go through some predictions that we are feeling throughout the field, and it doesn't just necessarily have to be the winner, okay? I want to talk about your biggest riser. I want to talk about your winner, and I want to talk about your podium. So let's start with your biggest riser. Who do you see making that big move, being able to jump from the bottom of these rank, not even the bottom, but just making the biggest rise and really finding a way into trying to get into those points in that top 10?
So you're talking about someone outside the top 10?
It doesn't have to be. I'm just talking about the biggest riser. For me, the biggest riser is obvious. It's Joseph Newgarden at the bottom of the field at 24.
Yeah.
He got screwed out. He hit the wall in qualifying one, which caught him in the back end of the field. But, I mean, he's a very talented driver with a very good car, and especially in terms of racing some of these guys at the back of the field like Devin DiFrancesco, Fertucci. Like, I mean, he's not going to really see any trouble dealing with the really good drivers in comparison to him. They're all great drivers, okay? Joseph Newgarden is in a class above a lot of these drivers. I don't expect him to really run into any trouble until he hits, if he gets there, 18, and then dealing with Pato O'Ward in the Arrow McLaren. I think that is where he may see some difficulty moving up the field, but I have no doubt that he'll be able to move up to at least 19 and make quick work of those rookies and those second-year drivers that are in between him and Pato O'Ward.
Joseph Newgarden is a very nice pick. I like that. I probably would have picked him myself as well, too. But I still want to see something from the bottom of the pack. These two guys that we got a chance to interview over the weekend is Stingray Robb and Nolan Siegel as well. Siegel's 20 years old out there, the youngest competitor that you've seen. And it's just impressive to me to see a young guy out here just braving all odds and, loving the sport.
They got to put a mask on his face so he doesn't accidentally lick his lips when they spray the champagne if he ever makes it to victory lane. He's not allowed to.
He's only 20 years old.
They give him sparkling apple cider. So they don't even give you the chance.
There we go.
But that's funny.
Are you okay?
No, they're striking me down for speaking ill. Yeah, I mean, I want to highlight Pato O'Ward. Obviously, Joseph Newgarden is a very, very talented driver, but I'm going to be a little impartial and show some love to my guy Pato O'Ward. Share some cultural heritage right there. But also, we were talking about earlier, like the ECR team, and I see Alexander Rossi sitting there in 16. I see Marcus Ericsson sitting there in P13, and Christian Rasmussen. That's what I meant to say. Christian Rasmussen in P12. I think those two guys are hoping to see like a bump up there. I think we can get them into the top 10. At least Rasmussen starting P12. I think he'll be able to find his way.
And a guy who I feel like we have to mention and who's driven really well this weekend is Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle Kirkwood was owning the practice, and then he was able to get P3 on the grid for the race. And that's a guy who has a career in multiple motorsports and not just IndyCar. So being on the different types of a track, like how Detroit is so different, I think that plays to his advantage, and I would expect a strong showing from him as well today.
I mean, speaking of this being in Detroit, this is the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix, and I'm looking at one driver in the front row who is driving a Chevy. David Malukas has been very, very fast in qualifying.
Yes, he has.
He was zooming. Obviously, one thing I want to talk about with qualifying, too, people aren't aware, it's really cool. They take the whole field. We have 14 drivers. They split them up into – we have 27 drivers, but they split them up into two grids, two groups, and they just run laps for a set time, and you get it's like recorded lap time. So it's based on your lap times. Top 6 times, move on to the next group, and then you have eventually like the top 12, which will file out. And I think it's a really cool style of pitting or qualifying, JB, having everybody out there on the track together, letting people like pace with each other, letting people utilize the draft, as well, because that's a big factor when it comes to the when it comes to qualifying and putting in those fast lap times. When you're like in NASCAR, for example, when you're the only car out on the track, there's just you out there. But when you have other people out there, I mean, you have to maybe slow down in a turn. You maybe have to like I said, maybe you're able to like pick up a little bit extra speed on a straightaway just due to the wind resistance from, like I said, just the draft ahead. So I think really exciting, really cool, something like new to me, as like I said, this is my first time down here. Haven't really like dipped my toe in the Indy waters too much, especially like in the pre-race ceremonies. Watching a race is it's kind of like one thing in itself, but being down here, seeing practice, seeing qualifying, interacting with the drivers, being in the areas where as they're just kind of like walking right by us. I thought yesterday was really cool. We were talking about getting to touch the fender of the the spare parts on Alex Palou's car, but also too we were just like sitting there, JB, and you have like drivers like Stingray Rob just rolled by on
everyone's on these little segways, just driving around, driving by around the city and everything like that. And it's so cool that you just get to see them just zip right on by, and you can just wave to them, say what's up to them. I know when they were on their way to the pit row to hop in their cars to test out everything, to check out the crew, they actually stopped, sat there, took pictures with everyone, handed out autographs to a lot of the people. So it's just fun, exciting. You never know who you will be able to see just walking randomly by out here. So that's why I encourage you to get down here, or if you don't want or don't have time to get down here, at least check it out on TV right now. I believe it's on FS1 as well too.
Yeah, and I think that's brought a lot of attention and eyes to the event, not only from abroad and from their remote viewing, but also here, get people seeing it, wanting to get down into the Grand Prix. And like I said, if they're not able to get tickets, it's okay, but there are so many different access, the parking garages, the river walk. It's a really cool atmosphere for the fans. JB, every time they come roaring by, I love it. I love hearing the zip.
You got to stop to take a look to see who just drove past you so fast.
I love hearing the zip. I love the sound, and then
I'm telling you right now, the straightaway right here is where you make up that lap time from those turns. So this is where they're going to gain that most speed, and this is where you hear, as you said, that zip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have the long straightaway down Jefferson after they make those two, coming out of the pits, they do those two 90-degree turns. Then you have the long straightaway down Jefferson, get into Chaos Corner, as Justin calls it.
Yes.
And then, boom, you come back here down the Riverwalk as you make your way to. As you're making your way back to the start finish line and into the pits and stuff. So it's like 40 degrees, so it's like, but then you look at the thing and it's like, all right, a high of 68, high of 71. It's like, all right, there's a 30-degree temperature difference. So I got to do I want to be warm now and shivering or shivering later, or sweating later, I should say, or do I want to be warm now or cold now, shivering, and then warm up and be comfortable the rest of the day? So typically, I would say I was surprised I didn't wear shorts. It was a little too chilly this morning for us, but I already had to take the jacket off. I might have a sweatshirt on earlier too, but it is beautiful out there. Like I said, there's a ton of boats out there. I see the underwater recovery team from the Detroit Police out there.
It is beautiful out there, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna check in with Spencer Raxter. Spencer Raxter is standing by for a video, and he has got some interviews that we're going to play real quick, so we'll catch you back here in a second. Here is an on-track view of the races. So good job of capturing this, and then he's got an interview with a fan.
It's your boy Spenny, downtown for Grand Prix. I'm here with Ian. Ian, you guys are living right. How you feeling out here?
I'm feeling great, man. This Grand Prix is our second time coming. First year last year was amazing. This one's even better.
What's one word you would describe Grand Prix in?
Oh, man. One word's even hard. There's excellent, experiment. I mean, just amazing. It's so fun.
And if you could choose one Detroit athlete to do a lap in the car, who do you think would get through the track?
Scoop.
Scoop? Give me the big lefty. There you go. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I would say we're taking a look at those videos and the interviews that Spencer's able to get with some of these fans. They're looking really cool, and it looks like he's right there at the right near the start-finish line in one of the garages. So, like I said, a ton of really cool access points for people to look right over. There's 5 different levels that you can access. If you could obviously stay on the main level, then there's 2, 3, 4, 5. They have the cars zooming by right here.
Yeah, as you said, there's a ton of access points for you to watch from here, especially if you have the rooftop access. That is priority for a lot of fans out there. You get to look down actually onto the street courses as well. You're so high up that you kind of get to see everything all while it's going on all at once. Shout out to Spenny for grabbing that coverage as well too. It looks like he's having fun out there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was, he said, his first time down there at the Grand Prix, his first time, kind of taking a dip into a little bit of the motorsports and such. But, like I said, he seems to have gotten a bit of the bug. We went to Monster Jam back in February, and he seemed to really dig that. I was hoping that, when taking the guys out to that, they'd maybe be a little bit interested in some more fun like this, getting some willingness to head out to the races. 'Cause I'd say prior to the Monster Jam, might not have had as much of an interest in popping out, but definitely, once you get to an event, instead of just seeing it on TV or hearing about it and seeing like a small clip of it, you're like, oh wow, I understand what.
What up, though? It's your boy Spenny. We're downtown here for.
It is so easy to get swept up in all of it when you're there. So
I absolutely agree. Seeing it live is 100% different than watching it on TV. I know how it might seem a little daunting, a little boring, but I'm telling you, once you actually see it live in person, you will get hooked. And next thing you know, you'll be looking for your next race, your next event you can watch, and what next event you can attend as well too.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's really cool. Like if you weren't able to make it down to Detroit Grand Prix, they have another race at a very popular road course, JB, Mid-Ohio, coming up here in a few weeks on this calendar schedule for IndyCar. That is a very popular track as well, and very notable. Like I said, I want to say NASCAR occasionally will go there from time to time, but very cool road course. And that's not too far away. Obviously, they go all over, with with the IndyCar circuit and stuff like that. And then F1, they're all over the place too, and and across Europe and whatnot. And then the United States, just think globally, I think they race just about anywhere. So it's really cool to see, sports like football, basketball, hockey. They're like kind of confined, and the teams usually have like one arena that they play in more or less. But like these races, when they're able to set them up at the tracks, where they built this right here in the city.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to Spenny. We got three more interviews from him to get the real vibe of what's going on there out on the track. So we're gonna cut to those real quick, and we'll catch you back in just a second.
What up, though? It's your boy Spenny down here for the Detroit Grand Prix, and we're in pit row now. This is where the action happens. This is where the cars get done. They're bringing them in here. They got all the spare parts, tires, everything. It's so cool to get back scenes, behind the scenes content like this. Like, look at this. This is just awesome right now. They're getting these beasts prepped for the Grand Prix to make sure they're putting on a show for the fans. Where else but Detroit? You got to get down here. Shout out Grand Prix. It's a great time. Come join us, Woodward Sports. We're out here all weekend. This is the last day, so come out and have a good time. Beautiful day in Detroit. What's better than that? It's the Motor City, baby. What up, though, everybody? It's your boy Spenny downtown. Grand Prix. I'm here with Nick. Nick, how we feeling?
Oh, we're feeling great, buddy.
Yeah, you guys are living right. You got the joints, you got the brews, you got the queso. Is this your spot? Are you
It's our spot, yeah. We're just sitting here watching the race. You can see the pits, you can see the finish line, finish circle over there, winner's circle. And it's just great. We're hanging out with a good bunch of buddies, sunshine, seeing the race.
One word to describe Grand Prix.
Perfection. I mean, it's downtown Detroit. It's a great time. We got races, front row seats. What can you complain about that?
And if you could pick a Detroit athlete to do a lap in a car, who are you picking?
I think Jared Goff. They all want to see Jared Goff.
Well, QB1 in the car, baby. Let's go. What up, though? It's your boy Spenny. We're downtown here for Grand Prix. I'm with Noah and Chase. You guys can hear the sounds going. Detroit is live right now. How are you feeling about Grand Prix so far?
We're ready. The NXT race is sweet. First time being here, so I couldn't be happier right now.
Yeah, so excited. I mean, this is such an awesome experience to be down here. Hear the cars, everything like that. It's dope.
And if you could describe Grand Prix in one word, what would it be?
Chaotic. It's a very tight track, so there's a lot of action always going on, and I'm here for it. Love to see the crashes. I mean, we just had a race restart right now with a red flag, so it's already going.
Yeah, it's electric down here. The energy is just amazing with everybody here in the cars. It's so awesome, yeah.
And if you could pick one Detroit athlete you would trust to get a lap in, who are you going with?
Give me Jared Goff.
Jared Goff?
Let's go, Jared.
Solid choice.
I'll probably go the same, I have to say, yeah.
Jared Goff, QB1, and he's leading the pack. Grand Prix, it's a Motor City. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
And we are back.
Hey.
And thank you to Spenny. Shout out to him
Shout
for
out
being able to
Spenny,
capture
man.
all of that.
Yeah, big shout outs to the Spen Dog, man.
Getting
He's
active.
having some fun out there.
Oh, he's
Speaking of the
actually
devil.
walked in just as we were talking about him. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Spencer was able to capture those.
Rob Wood.
Nice.
Wood is here. Hey, shout out once again.
Nice, dude. I like that question too, Spenny, of like which Detroit athlete you'd like to see. Honestly, who do you think would look the funniest in the car? Because like obviously, like I when we were at opening day, I saw they had a Grand Prix car just on the sidewalk. They were letting people hop in it. I got to jump in a Grand Prix car, and they told me I was like a little snug just like size-wise, I was almost too tall for it. Like so, interesting to see what, like imagine like Panay Sewell or like even like John Skipper.
Panay Sewell would not fit in any one of these cars. I'm sorry.
But
Yeah, and shout out to Spenny. He was asking I know the two kids that he talked to, the two fans were telling him about how they love the energy and the chaos that ensues. And we've been talking about that chaos and how much these turns and these tight corners affect these drivers. And I mean, you already saw it in the NXT. The first lap, the pink car,
number 18.
Number 18, spins out, is out for the race. Like it's really an intriguing track, and it really does have this energy to it and around it. And I'd love to get Spencer on real quick to get him to talk about the energy of the track. I mean, he was just out there. It's his first time here as well. Like that. This is what it. Yeah, this is what it's all about. It's getting people who don't necessarily know that this is going on. Like Spencer, this is your first time down here, Grand Prix weekend. You just went out for the first time, saw the track, saw the pit row, saw all that. So tell me about your experience. Tell me about how the fans are reacting.
Well, I've worked a couple Grand Prix for Andiamo, and I worked at Andiamo, so I've been to a few of them. But this is the first one I've been to. It's downtown. I went to them when they were in Belle Isle, and it's so much cooler having them down here. And, yeah, the energy of the pit and that is awesome. But I'll tell you what, the guys that are doing it right are the ones in the parking garage.
Doubt.
They're
There's
over
no doubt.
there ripping joints, shotgunning beers. They're just chilling out there.
It's
They're doing it right.
on.
That's how you should enjoy race cars.
Yes.
Like, I know the Formula One and everything is this little hoity-toity kind of, professional, white collar stuff. No, dude, you got to slam beers, smoke joints in the parking garage with those guys. That was sweet.
No, they're set up at there to give you a visionary of what that looks like. They are set up there. They have their moon chairs, their lawn chairs, any type of chair that's comfortable. They have it there. They have full setups, buffets, beers, joints. They have the trunks of their car open. So if you want to sit in the trunk of your car, I actually did watch part of the race from my car one of the years, and I literally sat on the roof of my car with a blanket, and it was such a good view of the track. To be really directly looking down on the track is so much better. And I would argue that even the parking garages along the track have some better views than even the chalets in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think so. I think literally that was the best view that we had when we were walking around, was in the parking garage. And again, I saw Rod Wood. Shout out, he was here. I wanted to ask him something about the Lions real quick. I kind of snuck past his security, and I didn't know if it was him at first. And I was walking by, I was like, Rod, and he turned around. I was like, oh shit. I was like, hi, Mr. Wood, Spencer Axter, Woodward Sports. He's enjoying it, man. He's obviously got people to see, babies to kiss, hands to shake. So he didn't have time for the interview, but it's cool to see Detroit's. I don't want to say elite, but that's high-level Detroit is Rod Wood. And he's walking around, he's enjoying it, he's taking pictures with people and stuff like that. So this is just great for the city to get everybody down here, to get people out and to just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Beautiful day, too. So, yeah. I'm trying to get on a boat. I don't know who we got to ask to get on a boat, but I'm trying to get on it. If you're downtown and you got a boat, I'm trying to get out there.
Hit us up. We would all love to get picked up, and we'll come vibe with you, party with you, watch the race with you from the boat. Maybe we'll even live stream some content from there if you really want. We'll give you the full experience.
So you never know. Smitty, I gotta ask you a question because you were hanging out with all the fans over there, capturing content. From the Lions tailgating versus Indy tailgating, which one do you like better, or which one do you prefer better?
Man, that's a good one. I think it's very similar vibes. A lot of the guys that we were tailgating here with Indy, or at the Grand Prix for the Indy car, they were wearing Lions gear. So it's a lot of Lions fans, but I still got to go with the Lions just because that's where my heart is. But I'll tell you what, IndyCar fans, they know how to party. They were having a good time up there.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, they are. And yesterday, I was lucky enough because shout out to Detroit Media Association, Detroit Sports Media Association. Let me not botch the name because they've done so much for me. They were able to get me into the pit lane chalets to talk to Nolan Aller yesterday, and it is just such a wholesome group of
did
fans.
You talk to him with the chest hair popping too, or did you button that up?
You know what it is. You got the same thing rocking. It's the Woodward special, as they say. You gotta show
little taco meat.
It's the difference of being a true professional journalist and then being what I like to call all of us credentialed content creators.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we are, and that's
It's a bar.
essentially what our business is. And I was having that conversation, but that's a conversation for a different day. Let's get back to the racing. So Spencer,
Yeah.
you were looking. I'm assuming you got a good view of some of the cars.
Oh, yeah.
You got a good view of the pits. What cars are sticking out to you in terms of the coolest ones or the ones that intrigue you the most?
I mean, I think the National Coney Island car, obviously very
Yep,
cool.
Nolan Allen, shout out.
to him, Detroit guy, Detroit company. That's very cool. I was chilling by the Firestone trucks over there again. Shout out Sheila Hamp, But I think that would be my favorite experience. Go over there. They're doing the wheel changes. They're putting new tires on.
Oh, really?
They were actually rebuilding one of the car's engines in there. So that was, I think that's like my favorite part of it. Obviously, seeing these beasts out on the track and listening to them is very cool. But I like the behind-the-scenes stuff a lot. And so seeing them put all that stuff together, I think was really cool.
Yeah, and I told you at Crash Corner there is a spot where you can go where you can be with no one there, and there's a clear open view of the track with your credentials. So we're gonna have to take you there and show you
we
that
can definitely do
because
that.
that is one of the coolest places to be on the entire track. Also, one of the best places to get content because if you can capture one of those crashes on your phone, I mean, it is otherworldly as well. Like I was sitting there last year and two Indy cars nicked their wings and like it just ensued.
Yeah.
Like it was 4 crashes at one time, just boom, and then it just happens like that and.
Oh.
Sorry.
Thought they were talking to us. All right, we're good.
Everybody stopped.
That's
That's a powerful voice. That's how you know she's doing
Yeah.
the job
Yeah.
right. She
That's how you
commanded
know
everybody.
she's in charge.
Yeah.
She's locked in.
Here, I'm gonna let Chase get back on. We should do that Crash Corner. And it's
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
down to
almost
do that
about to
crash
wrap
corner.
here, so we'll start heading there. But before we let you guys go, we did say we were going to talk about the actual Indy and NTT
I need a woman
series
to boss me
race
around
and
like
the fact that we have some predictions. Okay, my prediction is I even though Chase has hit me with this stat a million times this weekend that the average position that a Indy 500 winner does in the next Grand Prix is at 14th. But I still think Alex Palou is going to pull up the win. I do expect some
Really?
chaos in the front half, which causes some debris and maybe a yellow flag where Palou is now in third and he's able to capitalize. I really do think the chaos theory is going to reign. I think a guy like Palou at the top of that field is the creme de la creme, as I would like to say. He's the best driver. He's the most consistent driver. And even though he's coming off a big week where he went to New York and he's from Indy to New York to Detroit, hasn't been on track as much as some of the other drivers, I still believe in Alex Palou. He knows this track like the back of his hand. I think the biggest risers on the field will be Dixon after his grid penalty. I think that's just a given, and I think it's Joseph Newgarden. I know those are pretty basic picks for me, but just in terms of looking at the field, seeing the pace that they had in practice and in qualifying, I think that they have enough to be able to move up the field, and especially with their experience as drivers, I truly do have faith that they all three will be able to rise from their positions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to look at what someone I already mentioned earlier who's, I think, on the front row driving really fast. I think David Malukas is going to be someone who's going to be competing up at the front near the whole race.
I was going to say, yeah.
I say outside of any type of, accident or anything like that, I think he's going to have a fast car. I'm also looking at Scott McLaughlin. Rough start last week. Didn't even really make it to the start of the Indy 500. They're warming up on the pace laps. He crashes out. So I think he's going to be looking to bounce back. He's starting in 8th, and I think he's going to have a good chance to possibly climb up there and maybe secure like a top 3 finish. I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up fighting for a lead, fighting for the win. I think he is a previous winner at the Grand Prix as well. I'll have to double check that as well. And then starting in 9th as well, like I said, I talked about him earlier, from Toowoomba, Australia. That's a pretty cool name of a place. Will Power. So shout it out. Like I said, got to talk to him.
I would expect Will Power to also have a good day. He had some great pace the whole weekend and kind of just got the untimely lap in terms of the qualifying. I think that I would expect him to be a riser as well.
Yeah.
So let's get some predictions. Who you think is going to win? I think it's going to be Palou. I think he's going to pull out the big finish from
win.
6.
All right.
If I'm not taking Palou, I'm taking Kyle Kirkwood. I think that Kyle Kirkwood has really found a nice groove on this track. I do think Herta was just the beneficiary of having one of the last laps of the session for having the pole position.
I think I'm going to, because you guys said a lot of names that I'm keeping an eye on as well, too, but I'm going to have to lean towards willpower on this one. He's giving off that
He's got that willpower.
That Denny
you think
Hamlin
you're going
energy.
9-1?
Yeah, I'm going 9-1. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
I'm
look up
telling
some
you right
odds on
now,
these things.
Don't bet on that right now. But willpower's my guy. He's giving off that Denny Hamlin energy, and I think that, he's going to be real aggressive out there. We've seen him aggressive in practice during qualifiers as well,
I mean,
too.
yeah, they were calling him Will Plower because he plowed Kyle Kirkwood off the street in practice. So
exactly.
that was practice.
I'm keeping my eye out for Will Power. If not, keep an eye out for those top 2 at the top right now. Colton Herta and David Malukas as well, too. Those 2 are going to be the ones that are battling back and forth, that you can see some pole positions change, 1 and 2.
I was going to be a little aggressive with my winner prediction, JB. I wasn't going to be quite as aggressive with you. You went a step further, and I mean literally a step further. I was going to go with my winning prediction from P8 to P1. I'm going with Scott McLaughlin. I think he's going to be bouncing back. I think he's really hungry. Didn't even really get to race last week, so I think he's eager to get out there, eager to show everybody who was paying attention last week, who might have been kind of chuckling a little bit, like, hey, ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun, and I'm here to compete. So I'm looking at Scott McLaughlin. Honestly, like I said, the 3 cars I mentioned, like we're at the Chevy Detroit Grand Prix, and I'm looking at the Chevrolets this week as the fast cars. I think they're going to want to show out for their city, for their brand, for their race. So I'm keeping a big eye on Chevy. Like I said, Justin, can you remind me of the guy you interviewed yesterday?
Alex Blow?
Yeah. No, the winner of the race. The IMSA race.
It was I don't want to botch the name. It was I want to say it was Marksman, but that's extremely close, and I don't think it was.
Nonetheless, either way, I was gonna say he called it Fordland yesterday, so I'm really looking.
Oh,
to
Rockefeller, yeah, shout out. Yeah, Rockefeller.
Yeah. So, like I said, he said, they're walking around the GM building.
Mike Rockefeller, yep.
After the Ford win, he called it Fordland, and there's no Fords in the IndyCar series, but I am interested to see, if Chevy can pull out a nice win over Honda, because they are the 2 competing
manufacturers.
It would be nice to see today.
Well, to give you some odds on what you guys have predicted,
oh boy,
Scott McLaughlin is plus 1,000.
Guess I'm winning $1,000.
You
today.
took
Will Power.
Will Power is plus 1,600.
Come on.
I took Alex Pillow. He is plus 160. I really think Pillow's going to win the race. I mean, if you're starting 6th and you got plus 160 odds, I think that's baked in there that you're going to win. But you could. I mean, this track is the most uncertain track there is. Anything can happen. Anyone can move up a ton of places. But before we go, let's make sure we check in one more time on our boy Nolan Aller. On how he's doing in this race. He was doing extremely well to start. He had 2 overtakes to open the race, so hopefully he is able to make some more work. He's still in 15th. He is getting chased by your girl Haley Deegan. So
just saying,
we got our 2 drivers in the same spot right now. Hopefully they'll be able to get up into the points. I think Nolan Aller will have a chance. It seems like they're going to a yellow right now.
Oh, no.
Yep. They're going to a yellow. There must have been another crash on the track, so there's some opportunity for Nolan Aller to take advantage of right now, and I would expect there to be lots. I expect there to be 3 more crashes at least today in the next race and a half, to be completely honest with you guys.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but also you enjoy to see it as well, too, especially some of the racing fans. That might be their thing, but some crashes will definitely happen a lot more out here.
It's only not fun when it's a driver you like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the preview show. The cars were zooming by us one last time. We can see Nolan Aller right there in his beautiful helmet, beautiful car. But we will be wrapping up the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you want some more motorsports content coming your way. We're going to try to make this an every year thing, covering the Grand Prix for you guys. We'll